Qin Jiao, the 99th generation descendant of the Xuanmen, woke up from sleep and became a fake daughter of a wealthy family who had been kicked out. Not a big problem. Changing one's destiny and increasing one's luck, wealth and prosperity are not a problem. But how did this red line connect with people? Men will only affect her speed of making money. Cut it off. But keep it off, she smells so good. The proud son of heaven, Yanzhou, has deep blessings but is a short-lived ghost. A conspiracy, a curse, a girl named Qin Jiao broke into his world. She was kicked out of the wealthy family, framed by a true daughter, and blacklisted by the entire internet. Yanzhou openly spoke. My delicate and kind-hearted family, don't bully her. Everyone who is tired of living and dares to bully that ancestor. Keywords of the novel. I am a master of metaphysics, making a huge profit of 50 billion yuan. What's wrong? No pop-ups. I am a master of metaphysics, making a huge profit of 50 billion yuan. What's wrong? Download the complete text. I am a master of metaphysics, making a huge profit of 50 billion yuan. What's wrong? Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Changing Destiny Against Heaven. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Changing Destiny Against Heaven, Longevity in Longevity, Prosperous Financial Fortune, and Smooth Career. In the wilderness, a girl sat cross-legged on the lawn beside the road, muttering words. A girl is a natural beauty, sexy and bold, with crescent eyebrows and red lips, narrow phoenix eyes, and a small red mole growing at the corner of her right eye, both delicate and seductive. She is Qin Jiao, the 99th generation leader of the current Xuanmen sect, with a noble status. Xuanmen woke up as Qin Jiao, a fake daughter who had just been kicked out of a wealthy family and died on the roadside as a pitiful person. The original owner was originally the only daughter of the Qin family, a famous family in Jiangnan, and also a popular newcomer in the entertainment industry. Their parents accidentally visited the group and discovered that the female supporting actress on the set was their biological daughter. The original owner was framed, tortured, and ultimately died by the true daughter. Since she has taken over her body, this revenge will be repaid 1,000 times for her. However, the urgent task is to change her fate, change her tragic fate, and increase her lifespan and luck. As for marriage, she didn't have much interest, so it was better to focus on making money. Therefore, a red thread poured out from her fingertips, but it didn't extend out for a long time. Suddenly, a runaway car rushed towards her direction, and the glaring lights made her squint her eyes. However, she could still clearly see that the car was entangled in a sinister black aura, and the owner was cursed. Who doesn't have long eyes? It's not enough to harm people, and it's also bad for her good deeds. It's really not worth cleaning up. Qin Jiao's eyes flickered as she raised her hand to draw a rune from the void, throwing a golden spell towards the speeding sedan. The moment the talisman touched the body of the car, the black aura instantly dissipated without a trace. And the car made a sharp brake sound and stopped less than a fist away from her. The car door opened and a pale-faced man almost fell off the car. Qin Jiao instinctively stepped forward and helped him. The man grabbed her hand and gave her a deep glance before fainting in her arms. Hey! Don't fall down, I can't drag you. Qin Jiao shook him and saw no signs of him waking up. She sighed and helplessly carried the man back into the car. There is a certain difference in body size between men and women. Qin Jiao put in a lot of effort and finally settled him down. However, when she turned around, her hand was empty and she threw herself at him, her mouth even clinking. Qin Jiao hurriedly stood up and saw that the man's lips were torn and bleeding out. She quickly wiped with her fingers, and the next second she froze. The red line on her fingertips that couldn't be retracted in time wrapped around the man's hand in front of her. Qin Jiao took a cold breath and felt the sky and earth spinning. It's not because their marriage line is connected, but because if they already have a marriage relationship, forcibly changing someone else's marriage relationship will be punished by heaven. Qin Jiao immediately went to see his face and couldn't help but feel that this man had a face that was enough to make him sink. He has a cold temperament, but also possesses an extremely aggressive beauty. His jawline is exceptionally charming, and even if he faints, he still exudes a forbidden beauty from strangers. Of course, not including her, there are countless followers under her, and many handsome men are seen. She continued to examine and suddenly burst out laughing. This person. Why are you also a short-lived ghost? The heavenly court is full and the bones are upright, which is the sign of wealth and prosperity. However, the palace of destiny is on the verge of collapse, and those born in wealth and prosperity are not blessed. How miserable! At this moment, Qin Jiao noticed that his palace of destiny was becoming brighter and brighter, with a faint purple light shining through it. This was a sign of profound blessings and eternal longevity. How could this be possible? She retreated out of the car in fear. Is it because of this red line? Qin Jiao's face became extremely serious. She was able to change her life by taking advantage of the opportunity for rebirth. But now even someone else's destiny has been changed at the same time, and she can't bear the backlash of changing her destiny against the heavens. It was just a chance encounter, she didn't need to take the risk of rescuing him. Qin Jiao's eyes darkened, her fingertips moved slightly, and she murmured something in her mouth. She's going to cut off this connected red line. But the next second, Qin Jiao's whole body stiffened and she didn't have time. She doesn't count herself, her soul has completely fused with this body, and she can't take a second chance. This red line can't be broken. Qin Jiao stared at him with complex eyes, and her gaze eventually fell on his blood-stained lips. After a long time, she sighed and turned away. Not long after she left, 3 black sedans arrived one after another, and the people on board were all dressed in suits and earphones, picking up the man. Qin Jiao wandered around all night, and after dawn, she borrowed her phone from a convenience store and called her agent. Su Yuning rushed over and took Qin Jiao back to her house. The two of them sat on the sofa, and Su Yuning spoke helplessly. The Shen family called a halt to the filming of A Few Deep Feelings. Deep Love is a TV drama that the Shen family initially invested in for her. Qin Jiao nodded calmly and said, as expected. Su Yuning couldn't help but mutter, the Shen family is trying to force you to death. After more than 20 years of love, it's really. Qin Jiao looked at the agent chattering incessantly in front of her and couldn't help but think about life. Should she continue to develop in the entertainment industry? Or should we continue our old profession? Qin Jiao had not yet figured it out when a sudden cry of surprise came from her ear. Qin Jiao. What is the situation? Su Yu stood up and showed her today's hot search. #shocking. Shen Qinjiao's fake identity as a daughter is a real hammer, suspected of being expelled from the house. #Shen Qinjiao's late night road private meeting gold owner dad. Qin Jiao clicked on a hot search video, where a man and a woman were stuck together in the car. Qin Jiao's mouth twitched a bit. Should it be so outrageous? I sighed inwardly. What a bad fate. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Narrow Avenues for Enemies. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Narrow Avenues for Enemies. Before Su Yuning could question Qin Jiao, a phone call rang, successfully diverting Su Yuning's attention. She smiled brightly and replied, yes, really. No problem, we can come over anytime. Okay, see you later. After hanging up the phone, Su Yuning hugged Qin Jiao. You're really lucky. Our lives shouldn't end, we're about to turn around. The director who just called is the one with the slightest trace, inviting you to participate in their program. Su Yuning was extremely excited. This is the most eye-catching reality show of the year. I heard that the actor Qin Jiao will also participate, and it is an unprecedented live variety show. Qin Jiao looked puzzled and said, "Why did you come to me for such a popular variety show? She is still on the top 3 trending topics, isn't the production team afraid of causing a lot of trouble? Sleeping trough, are you still hesitant about the pie falling from the sky?" Su Yuning excitedly dragged Qin Jiao out. "Let's go, they told us to go sign the contract now." Afterwards, the progress went very smoothly, signing the contract and receiving a prepayment of 140,000 yuan. The only downside was that the number 14 was unlucky. Qin Jiao felt that there must be some tricks involved, indicating that someone might be playing tricks. On the day of the broadcast of Spider's Trace, guests were all in place. When Xuanmen appeared, she understood. And when netizens saw Qin Jiao appear as a mysterious guest, the barrage instantly turned black on her. "Director, when you come out, it turns out that the mysterious guest is Qin Jiao. Did she just get off the king's bed? The wealthy father has immense power, and the national goddess, who has 3,000 million fans, has already posted and promoted her for free. Can she still be replaced?" Bull. Knock. Fake daughter meets real daughter, mustard stimulates. Xuanmen smiled naively and waved happily at Qin Jiao, saying, "Great sister, you really joined in. We can play detective games together now." Qin Jiao looked at Xuanmen's harmless face, and memories came to her mind. Who would believe that she framed Qin Jiao to steal things when rumors spread? As her thoughts drifted back, Qin Jiao's eyes flashed with a hint of strangeness, and Xuanmen almost said that she had entered through the back door. However, this is also a fact. I think the Qin family put a lot of effort into getting her in. Do you want to use her as a control group and step on her to become a superior? Okay. Don't regret it. Will I come, don't you know? Qin Jiao's tone was light, but it made Xuanmen smile instantly stiff. She thought that Qin Jiao would be furious, or her eyebrows and eyes would be raised, and at the worst, she should speak ill of each other, so she could use this opportunity to establish an innocent and pitiful weak character. Unexpectedly, Qin Jiao would rebel against her. Xuanmen calmed down and blinked in confusion. What does sister mean? How can I not understand? Oh, by the way, I have already explained the necklace to my parents. After the live broadcast ends, sister, come home with me. My parents will definitely forgive you. Qin Jiao remained silent, looking at her with cold and sarcastic eyes. Sister, why do you look at me like this? Xuanmen took a step back with red eyes, looking both aggrieved and scared. Qin Jiao frowned and said frankly, "Don't worry, I won't hit you during the live broadcast." By implication, who is she doing this play for? Xuanmen's eyes flashed with shock, followed by joy. Is Qin Jiao, this idiot, digging her own grave? She thought Qin Jiao's words would definitely be criticized, but she didn't want the bullet screen art style in the live broadcast room to be quite right. Did I hear you right? Is Qin Jiao having low intelligence, or is she really unhappy with Xuanmen? Why do you inexplicably think Qin Jiao is a bit handsome? Qin Jiao is too much. Why did she hit Xuanmen? Surprisingly, there were still those who helped Qin Jiao forcibly whitewash her in the barrage. They were all the sailors she invited. The barrage in the live broadcast room was divided into 2 levels, and the director team quickly came out to control the scene, saying that the guests would be divided into 3 groups through a lottery. Qin Jiao didn't want to entangle with Xuanmen anymore and politely greeted the guests before standing at the edge. Xuanmen gritted her teeth secretly and clenched her hands on both sides into fists. However, she still had an extremely aggrieved expression on her face. After returning to the team, she looked at Qin Jiao with a look that could cry at any time and said, "Brother Jiao." Qin Jiao nodded slightly, without any unnecessary response, but his gaze fell on Qin Jiao. Qin Jiao only greeted him from beginning to end without looking at him, which made him inexplicably unhappy. The clues have cost a fortune this time, inviting 6 young celebrities who are rightfully popular. Qin Jiao, who is widely criticized on the internet, Xuanmen, who relies on her parents to heavily exploit resources, and Jiao, the newly popular actor. New generation singer Li Xiaoya, talented actor Yuan, and variety show star Qiao Xian. The draw is from left to right, with Qiao Xian being the first to draw and Qin Jiao being the last. When it was Xuanmen's turn, she exchanged glances with the staff and then looked shyly at Jiao. Qin Jiao took the last envelope and, without warning, said to the camera, "Please call me Qin Jiao in the future." Is Qin Jiao trying to completely sever ties with the Shen family? Jiao looked at Qin Jiao in surprise and immediately raised the envelope in his hand to attract everyone's attention. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Bloodlight soars the sky. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Bloodlight soars the sky. Qin Jiao had just changed her name publicly, and Jiao's obvious change of topic made people suspect that he was trying to help Qin Jiao. Jiao paid no attention to others' opinions and said, "Can I change it? It should be okay if I haven't opened it yet, right?" Xuanmen's face was ugly, and in order not to be noticed, she hurriedly lowered her head. Qiao Xian over there has already raised his hand. "Director, I'm willing to switch." What else can the director team say if the guests are willing to change? After the exchange, the director team shouted loudly. "Don't open the envelopes in your hands yet. Now, please listen carefully to the summary of the silent truth of the first case. Recently, many strange things have happened in the school. After a young male teacher mysteriously disappeared, 3 students committed suicide at school. In order to find out the truth, a brave 6-person team took advantage of the weekend to come to the school to search for clues. Behind you is the crime scene. Now, please open the envelope and check your grouping results, as well as your identity information." Qin Jiao was about to open the envelope when suddenly Xuanmen's innocent voice came over. The production team put in a lot of effort and found an abandoned school to simulate the scene. Qin Jiao instinctively turned her head to look, and in the next moment she froze. The thick black air enveloped the abandoned school, which was clearly caused by the imbalance of yin and yang, and the lingering spirit. Qin Jiao's expression was solemn, and she immediately looked at Jiao and others around her. She saw that each of them had turned black, with blood shining in the sky, as if they were a sign of impending death. "Please confirm your identity information before entering the crime scene. Don't go in. It's very dangerous inside." Qin Jiao suddenly spoke up to stop, attracting everyone's attention. "Can you tell her to shut up? Is that how she came up with the limelight? Is she able to predict? If she's afraid, she'll quit the show. Still changing your name. Ungrateful trash." Xuanmen smiled and comforted, "Sister, are you afraid? It's okay, the production team will ensure our safety. Besides, we have already signed the contract. The implication is that if she doesn't go in, she will have to pay a penalty for breach of contract. With her current financial resources, she really can't afford to compensate." Sigh. "She said the number 14 is unlucky." Qin Jiao ignored Xuanmen. Xuanmen said again, "Sister, don't be afraid, I will protect you." She looked innocent and kind, as if she didn't care at all about Qin Jiao's previous words about hitting her. Qin Jiao frowned and said, "Don't bother, don't ask me to protect you then." Xuanmen smiled and said, "I don't know how to do it. I have a lot of courage." Qin Jiao didn't reply a word. "Anyway, slapping her face will come soon. She only has one thought in her mind now. It's a loss. Isn't it just a loss?" In the past, such a small amount of money was not enough for her to divine for people, but now she still risks 5 lives. This money is also too difficult to earn. When I go back, I still have to do my old job and cannot hang myself from a tree. Qin Jiao took out the lottery paper from the envelope while thinking, and after carefully examining it, she said, "I am in 3 groups." Upon hearing this, Qin Jiao took the initiative to walk up to her and said, "I am also in 3 groups." Qin Jiao had already guessed the result and quietly moved to the side, not wanting to have any connection with Qin Jiao. However, Qin Jiao was completely rebellious and followed suit, insisting on getting close to her. Why did my brother come closer to her? Stay away from her, so as not to cause any trouble. Woo-woo. She was actually assigned to the same group as her brother. I seriously suspect that there was a covert operation. Isn't it the actor who wants to change it himself? The meaning upstairs is that your brother insists on sticking stickers with Qin Jiao. The result is obvious. Xuanmen and variety show star Xiao Xian are in the same group, singer Li Xiaoye and talented actor Zheng Quan are in the second group, and Qin Jiao and Qin Jiao are in the third group. After carrying the spare phones given to them by the program team, the first 2 groups entered the teaching building chatting and laughing, except for Qin Jiao with a face full of reluctance. Qin Jiao comforted her quietly beside her, "Don't be afraid, just follow me closely." Qin Jiao glanced at him and thought to herself that she might not know who was afraid later. Thinking of the meager 140,000 yuan and 5 oil bottles, Qin Jiao walked directly into the teaching building with a cold face. Qin Jiao looked at her back in a daze, and after a moment, he quickly chased after her. No one saw that as they walked into the teaching building, the black mist completely enveloped them like a cannibalistic monster. The production team has installed equipment in advance, which can accurately capture the movements of everyone, and there are professional technicians responsible for switching live broadcast shots outside the venue. The teaching building has 3 floors, each responsible for 1 floor. Qin Jiao and Qin Jiao went to the 3rd floor. Through the arrangement of the program team, the teaching building does not look like it is abandoned. There are more or less books that students haven't brought home, prints on the blackboard, green plants on the windowsill, sanitary areas in the corners, and various textbooks piled up in the teacher's office in the classroom. Qin Jiao glanced sideways at Qin Jiao, wanting to talk to her several times, but each time he opened his mouth, he didn't know what to say. Suddenly, he stopped and pointed to the side, saying, "Look for this one. The other classrooms are all neat and tidy, only this one is messy, there should be clues." Qin Jiao glanced inside and the corners of her mouth twitched. "Are you sure?" Qin Jiao looked at her inexplicably and said, "What's wrong?" "It's nothing," Qin Jiao cleared her throat. "What I mean is, either act separately, you go to another classroom, and I'll be in charge of this one. Aren't you afraid? It's better not to part ways." Looking at Qin Jiao's caring expression, Qin Jiao reluctantly responded and pushed open the classroom door. When did she say she was afraid? Qin Jiao followed behind her and comforted her softly, "There won't be any danger." Bang! Before he could finish speaking, the classroom door suddenly closed and made a loud noise. Qin Jiao was frightened and trembled all over. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. The actor is scared unconscious. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. The actor is scared unconscious. Qin Jiao looked up and saw Qin Jiao looking at him with a pitiful gaze. He pretended to be calm and said, "It's probably the wind, it's okay." Qin Jiao smiled knowingly as she watched him pretend to be calm. Qin Jiao quickly found a hidden camera under the desk, as if to prove himself, he crawled straight into it. Under the desk, a black mist appeared in front of Qin Jiao. He was so scared that his hair stood up and he tilted his head to faint. Qin Jiao has black lines all over her head, is that all? The black mist startled and knocked Qin Jiao out. In Qin Jiao's eyes, he was a mischievous spirit with only half a head and black blood gushing out of his mouth. The mischievous spirit had cracked dark blue skin on his face, and his pupils were pitch black, without any eye whites. Qin Jiao remained unmoved and calmly avoided him, going under the desk to pat Qin Jibai's face. Okay, Qin Jibai is feeling very peaceful. The evil spirit tilted its broken head and appeared again in front of Qin Jiao. Qin Jiao chuckled and raised her hand, slapping the evil spirit to the ground. She angrily said, "It's not over, is it?" The evil spirit covered its cracked cheeks and looked at Qin Jiao in confusion, with fear in its dark eyes. "Where's your boss? Let him come over and see me." Qin Jiao looked at him from a high position, seeing it hesitating, and slowly took a step forward. The next second, the evil spirit covered its face and floated out. While Qin Jiao was thinking about how to place Qin Jibai, Yuan glanced at the live broadcast camera fixed on the blackboard. Live streaming. I almost forgot about this. Qin Jiao leaned up to the camera and said calmly, "Don't be afraid, everyone. It was just me who became addicted to acting. Qin Jibai was too deeply involved in the show, and I estimate he will have to act for a while. It's all about program effects, and everyone should believe in science." God, he believes in science. The netizens in the live broadcast room are all dumbfounded. They clearly see a flickering black shadow. Can it be a special effect? Or holographic projection? It's too cult. Who will tell me that Qin Jiao really acted? Crouching slot, divine operation. It seems that Qin Jiao's wealthy father has invested a lot. Not to mention netizens, even the members of the program team are doubting themselves. Did the planning team really charge money? In the classroom, Qin Jiao forcefully dragged Qin Jibai out and pinched others. Qin Jibai felt pain and woke up leisurely. He was momentarily stunned and quickly remembered the scene he had just seen. He panicked and grabbed Qin Jiao's hand, saying, "Qin Jiao, something's wrong here. I'll take you out first." As he spoke, he got up and dragged her out, and Qin Jiao quickly broke free from him. "The live broadcast is not over yet. Where are you taking me?" "Stop recording, you'll be scared." Qin Jiao was clear in her heart and didn't take it seriously. "Are you talking about the dark shadow just now?" Qin Jibai was stunned and said, "You. Did you see it?" Qin Jiao nodded and said, "Yes, it's just the program effect. What's there to be afraid of? What was written under the podium?" Qin Jibai couldn't help but wonder if he was mistaken. Qin Jiao didn't wait for him to answer and looked directly under the podium. "Be careful." Qin Jibai saw this and quickly stopped, afraid that Qin Jiao would follow in his footsteps. "It's okay," Qin Jiao replied casually, turned on her phone flashlight, and bent down to look for clues. Qin Jibai stood beside her, watching her search everywhere. He had a lot to say and many questions to verify, such as who the man in that video was. Qin Jibai gazed deeply at the scene of Qin Jiao, and everyone in the live broadcast saw it, including Lu Yanzhou, who was still recuperating in the hospital. Lu Yanzhou is the heir of the Lu family in the capital city, a truly prestigious family. He holds the power of a group company worth billions under the Lu family. This time, he came to inspect the Xuanmen branch and was accidentally drugged with hallucinogenic drugs. Later, he was saved by Qin Jiao. However, there are many doubts about this matter, such as why did he unconsciously drink the hotel's mineral water when he only drank his own water? For example, why does he drive out alone and not allow his bodyguards to follow him? Standing by the hospital bed were Tang Ao, the close bodyguard of Lu Yanzhou, and his personal assistant Zhou Qing. Tang Ao was wearing a black suit, with a cut and sharp eyebrows and eyes that exuded arrogance. "Boss, the boy who drugged you is nowhere to be found. Don't worry, even if he gets sunk in the river, I will pull him up and dismember him." Zhou Qing has irregular short hair, a delicate appearance, fair skin, and looks like a weak scholar. He glanced at Tang Ao and then said, "Boss, we have found out. Miss Qin Jiao was just kicked out of the Qin family that night, and she did indeed appear there by chance." Sitting on the hospital bed, Lu Yanzhou held his phone with an indifferent expression. He looked at the hot search online, and Qin Jiao not only kissed him, but also stared at him with strange eyes for a long time, combined with the strange behavior of the live broadcast just now. After pondering for a moment, Yanzhou looked up at Zhou Qing and said, "I want to see her." "Good boss, I will keep an eye on Miss Qin Jiao's itinerary." Zhou Qing respectfully responded, while Tang Ao smacked his lips, secretly saying that this girl is finished, but she is so fierce that the boss's mouth has not improved yet. Yanzhou nodded slightly and suddenly heard a mournful scream from the live broadcast room. He frowned and his gaze fell on the phone screen again. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. The real culprit is among us. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. The real culprit is among us. Wang Yu, Li Man, Zhao Shuer, Sun Qin Jiao saw the names of these people carved under the lectern, and the first three names were marked with an X with a red marker. The last name was scratched and could only be vaguely recognized as a Sun character. The plot summary is that there have been many strange incidents in the school recently. After a young male teacher mysteriously disappeared, 3 students committed suicide at the school. There happened to be 3 people's names under the table. Qin Jiao also had the same idea when he saw it. Just as he was about to discuss the case with Qin Jiao, he heard a mournful scream. It's Xuanmen's voice. Qin Jiao quickly captured the clues and said, "Let's go down and take a look." The camera in the live broadcast room had already switched to Xuanmen's side, and she was seen sitting on the ground, holding a chair in her arms, looking ahead in terror, tears streaming down her face. Xiao Xian in front of Xuanmen was like a madman, kicking all the tables and chairs around him over and shouting with crimson eyes. "Don't force me, should die, little beast." The people from Group 2 were upstairs, coming faster than Qin Jiao and Qin Jiao. Xuanmen saw them and cried out, "Help! Help me!" The second group of people anxiously shouted, "You come out." Xuanmen cried and shook her head, "The door won't open." She has already tried, otherwise how could she still be with this crazy person? Zheng Quan grabbed the doorknob and slammed it hard a few times, but the door remained motionless. How could this be? Li Xiaoye stumbled back half a step, her whole body on the brink of collapse. She just saw a suspicious shadow on the second floor, and then heard Xuanmen scream. There shouldn't really be anything unclean in this place, right? Yujie, Zheng Quan, what happened? Qin Jiao asked at the staircase and ran up quickly. Behind him followed Qin Jiao leisurely, as if on a spring outing. Ji Bai Gu. Xuanmen in the classroom threw away the chair in her arms and ran crying, clutching the glass window and choking uncontrollably. "I'm so scared, brother Ji Bai, help me." The people in the second group instinctively looked at Qin Jiao upon seeing this. Xuanmen is just a newcomer to the entertainment industry. Initially, they thought she was able to participate in this program thanks to the financial ability of the Qin family. Now it seems that she has long known the actor Qin Jiao. Qin Jiao's eyes flickered with panic, and he opened his mouth to explain to Qin Jiao. However, he realized that the live broadcast was not over yet, so he could only look at her hesitantly. Qin Jiao didn't see it, so she walked up to Zheng Quan and casually asked, "Can't the door open?" Zheng Quan came back to his senses in a daze and said, "Ah. Yes, I can't open it." "Let me give it a try," Qin Jiao said as she naturally put down her hand, grabbed the doorknob, opened and closed her mouth from an invisible angle, and decisively pressed down. Click. The sound of the door lock opening became particularly clear at this moment, and everyone's faces showed joy, especially Xuanmen in the classroom. Xuanmen cried as she opened the door and rushed forward. Unexpectedly, Qin Jiao standing outside suddenly turned sideways, causing Xuanmen to pounce and fall into a mess. Li Xiaoye, who was closest to her, quickly stepped forward to help. "Thank you, Sister Yu." Xuanmen thanked Qin Jiao wisely and then looked at her with grievances. "Sister, why are you doing this? I'm really scared. She looks like an abandoned little girl, with a pair of crying eyes that turn red at the end. Her pitiful appearance is truly heartbreaking. Unfortunately, Qin Jiao didn't eat her tricks. She glanced at her and only uttered one word. Dirty. Xuanmen sat on the ground just now, feeling very dirty on his body, but he was very clear in his heart that the dirt in Qin Jiao's mouth had another meaning. How dare she humiliate her? Xuanmen clenched his fists with both hands, while feeling a bit uneasy. Qin Jiao in front of him was too unfamiliar. She was both foolish and easy to handle. Is it because of Qin Jiao? Xuanmen looked up at Qin Jiao, with a face full of grievances. Qin Jiao did not pay attention to her. His gaze fell on Qin Jiao, filled with exploration and confusion. She seems different, but he has never gotten to know her before. Perhaps this is the true version of her. Qin Jiao's gaze softened, and there was a hint of appreciation in his eyes. Xuanmen felt a deep hatred towards Qin Jiao upon seeing this scene. Zheng Quan was a bit anxious and looked at Xuanmen, asking, how did Xiao Xian become like this? Xuanmen shook his head and said, I don't know what's wrong with him. We just saw that this classroom was quite messy, so we came in to look for clues. However, he suddenly went crazy and picked up a chair and smashed it. Fortunately, I hid quickly, otherwise. She choked up and wiped the corners of her eyes, but everyone ignored her and analyzed the case on their own. Li Xiaoye said, we also saw a rather messy classroom on the second floor. We didn't go in, we went to the teacher's office first. She didn't mention anything about the shadows, after all, it's possible that she was mistaken. Qin Jiao continued, there is also a similar classroom on the third floor, He paused before continuing, we found 3 complete names under the desk and 1 erased name. We only know the surname Sun, and I think he is the key clue. Zheng Quan nodded in agreement and said, so there is a classroom that has been messed up on every floor, but how can his behavior be explained? Does he have hidden tasks? Qin Jiao looked at Xiao Xian in the classroom, who was surrounded by black gas and had already been hit. But she couldn't directly tell them, so she moved the topic away and said, we all have corresponding roles. I am Jiao, and that male teacher is my homeroom teacher. I came here to find out the truth about the missing homeroom teacher. After Qin Jiao finished speaking, the other few people also confessed their identity information. Li Xiaoye is teacher Yu, and the missing teacher is her boyfriend. Zheng Quan is a powerful parent and the mother of a deceased child. Qin Jiao is Bai's classmate, and among the students who committed suicide, there is his best friend. After everyone had finished speaking, Xuanmen said with a tearful tone, I am Rant's classmate, and I am also here for the teacher. Qin Jiao looked around and said, everyone has a purpose, and Xiao Xian must be the same. I have a bold guess. What? Everyone asked in unison. Qin Jiao lightly threw a bomb and said, perhaps the real culprit is among us. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Face, unable to speak. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Face, unable to speak. A stone stirs up 1,000 waves, and everyone is on guard against each other. Isn't investigating a case just to uncover the truth and find the culprit? Qin Jiao's words are not without reason. I have a way to make Xiao Xian recover as usual. After Qin Jiao finished speaking, she entered the classroom, and everyone else looked at her suspiciously, except for Qin Jiao who followed her. Jiao. Xuanmen grabbed him with quick eyes and hands. It's too dangerous. Qin Jiao shook her off and only saw Qin Jiao in his eyes. Be careful, I'll help you, he said. He was about to go, but Qin Jiao stopped him loudly and said, don't come over. Qin Jiao muttered words in her mouth, and a golden light flashed in her eyes, revealing the true face of the evil spirit in front of her. His limbs twisted, his neck twisted on his shoulders in a strange posture, his stomach had a gash, and half of his organs were hanging outside. Qin Jiao can be certain that what she saw before and what she saw in front of her were both one of those 3 students. So there should also be one on the second floor, but the second group didn't get into that messy classroom, so they managed to avoid a disaster. Qin Jiao looked nervously at Qin Jiao, afraid that Xiao Xian would hurt her. His body leaned forward slightly, which was a position that could be rushed over at any time. Xuanmen suddenly whispered, "Does sister really have a way? Or does she also have hidden tasks?" Upon hearing these words, Qin Jiao turned his head and glanced at her, frowning slightly. Xuanmen was clearly guiding them. Xiao Xian made an unusual move, and now he is the most suspected murderer. If Qin Jiao also has hidden missions, then Qin Jiao should also be listed as a suspect. Xuanmen seemed to have missed Qin Jiao's dissatisfaction with her and blinked innocently. Sometimes the more you explain, the more silver there is in this place, the better to pretend to be careless, which can make other guests more suspicious. How could Qin Jiao know that she was kind enough to solve everyone's problems, but instead became a suspect? Biting through her fingertips, Qin Jiao took a few steps and rushed forward, dropping a drop of blood on Xiao Xian's forehead. Xiao Xian suddenly let out a fierce scream, as if some force was burning his soul. The evil spirit was burned and smoked all over, escaping in pain from Xiao Xian's body. He looked at Qin Jiao in terror, pulling back hard, wishing to hide himself in the crack in the wall. Qin Jiao drew a rune in the void and looked up at the evil spirit, saying, "Do you know the power of this rune?" The evil spirit nodded fiercely. If this spell were to stick to him, he would immediately disappear from this world and never be reborn. "Go tell your boss to come see me as soon as possible, I'll only give him 3 minutes. If it's too late, you'll be at your own risk." Just now on the 3rd floor, she explained it the same way, but the other party didn't show up, so I guess they didn't take her seriously. The evil spirit drifted out as if fleeing, and Qin Jiao then looked at Xiao Xian in front of her. His expression was dull and his face turned pale. Qin Jiao reached out and snapped her fingers in front of him. Xiao Xian regained consciousness in a daze and said with a blank expression, "What happened?" Upon hearing him finally speak normally, everyone gathered around. "Xiao Xian, your acting skills are amazing." Looking at Zheng Quan teasing him, Xiao Xian looked bewildered and said, "What acting skills? What happened to me just now?" Zheng Quan smiled and didn't say much while he was still playing. "Sister," Xuanmen pointed to the bloodstain on Xiao Xian's eyebrows and exclaimed in surprise, "Were you just performing a spell cast?" Everyone just noticed a slight redness in Xiao Xian's eyebrows. "Are you injured?" Qin Jiao reacted the fastest and immediately grabbed Qin Jiao's hand to check. "This is just a show, why do you want to hurt yourself?" Qin Jiao calmly withdrew her hand and said, "It's not hurt, it's just a prop." She looked at the camera not far away and smiled indifferently, "It's all program effects, everyone understands." "Sister." Upon hearing this sound, Qin Jiao became annoyed and turned her head to sweep over. Xuanmen smiled innocently and said, "What was sister whispering to Xiao Xian just now?" Xiao Xian looked bewildered and said, "Did you talk to me?" Faced with Xuanmen's pretentious questioning, Qin Jiao only gave her 2 words. "No." Anyway, only evil spirits could hear what she said earlier. This was obviously not the answer Xuanmen wanted. She wanted to ask something else, but suddenly felt a chill. Except for Qin Jiao, everyone else also shivered, this place is too evil. They instinctively leaned towards Qin Jiao, for some reason, but they just felt that she was safer around them. Xuanmen also leaned over, and Qin Jiao stepped back to the side, distancing herself from her. Qin Jiao retreated and everyone followed suit, creating a very funny scene. Xuanmen took a step towards them, and they took a step back. She took a step back, and they took a step back. "Sister." Xuanmen was extremely aggrieved. Qin Jiao was interpreting 4 words all over her body. "Don't suffer me. Suddenly, with a bang, the door that Qin Jiao had previously opened was closed. "Here we go." Qin Jiao looked up and saw a black mist floating in front of them. The temperature in the classroom suddenly dropped, and even though the doors and windows were closed, a gust of dark wind was blowing around them. The evil spirit had no intention of scaring people, but the people in the classroom still saw a strange black shadow flashing by. The evil spirit who came had too much resentment. He was stronger than the two Qin Jiao had seen before. Xuanmen screamed in fear and jumped over to Qin Jiao without any image, tightly grasping his arm. "Jiao, I'm afraid." Qin Jiao was also afraid, but he was even more afraid of any scandals with Xuanmen. He instinctively wanted to shake off Xuanmen, while anxiously looking at Qin Jiao, as if desperately trying to prove his innocence. Unfortunately, Qin Jiao didn't even look at him. Her gaze fell ahead and she didn't know what was there. Qin Jiao's expression was calm. After turning around, she said, "Let's look for clues. There are books in every desk, and the names must be written on them. We need to find Wang Yu, Li Man, and Zhao Shuer. If you see someone surnamed Sun, make a mark first. In short, we must find out the truth." The evil spirit understood Qin Jiao's words and was actually speaking to him. He drifted up to Qin Jiao and made a deep and gloomy voice, "You want to help me?" Qin Jiao didn't answer him, just nodded and then looked sideways. The evil spirit has transformed into a human form, not the miserable appearance before death, but the appearance before death. Qin Jiao was slightly stunned, and the target was a handsome young man. He had a kind and gentle appearance. The evil spirit looked at her puzzled and said, "Why?" Qin Jiao felt a bit embarrassed when she heard this, because she accidentally kissed someone, causing the marriage line to connect with them. She still couldn't break this marriage relationship, so in order to avoid suffering from backlash, she could only do good and accumulate virtue. Shameful, I can't say it out loud. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. The Proud Evil Spirit. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. The Proud Evil Spirit. Qin Jiao refused to answer, but the evil spirit delved deeper into the matter. "Why do you want to help me? What do you want from me? Or who do you want me to get rid of for you?" The evil spirit is no longer the kind and benevolent appearance of a kind eyebrow. His eyes are fierce, staring at Qin Jiao tightly, as if as long as the answer displeases him, he will immediately attack her. "Is your guard so strong? It seems that he died so wrongly that he no longer believed that anyone would lend a helping hand for no reason." Qin Jiao understood him, but she didn't like being threatened. The last time she looked at her with such eyes, the evil spirit had long been extinguished. Don't ask what shouldn't be asked. When Qin Jiao said these words, Xuanmen happened to question whether the classroom was too messy. "Can we really find a clue?" Xuanmen was taken aback for a moment, then turned red in frustration and said, "Sister, do you just hate me so much?" Qin Jiao ignored her and waited calmly for the evil spirit's reaction. The evil spirit saw Qin Jiao's tough attitude and didn't act with fear. He suppressed his resentment and floated to a crooked desk. Qin Jiao understood and walked over on her own. Xuanmen didn't receive a response and reluctantly stopped her, saying, "Sister, I was the only one who spoke earlier, wasn't it? The implication is that this matter cannot be resolved by her silence." Qin Jiao looked up at her and said, "Who are you complaining about when you say the classroom is too messy? Or are you feeling tired and not looking for clues?" The classroom was messed up by Qiao Xian, and finding clues was their main task this time. Qin Jiao's two words made her kind and lovely character seriously crack. Xuanmen quickly explained, I didn't mean that." Qin Jiao withdrew her gaze and didn't want to take another look at her. "Then shut up," she said. Xuanmen was immediately at a loss. She instinctively looked at Qin Jiao and saw him squatting on the ground earnestly looking for clues. She then turned to Qiao Xian, who was in the same group as her. Qiao Xian shifted his gaze, turned around and searched everywhere, looking very busy. I actually feel very pleased to see Qin Jiao scolding people. What's going on? I'm a black fan. Didn't you see it yet? Xuanmen is just a green tea. Qin Jiao's navy has started again. Even though she took it out of context, how could we Anren have so much thought? The live broadcast room is becoming more and more lively, and there are also more and more different voices. At this moment, Qin Jiao had already walked to the crooked desk. She took out a stack of books from the desk, including an exercise book with Li Manman's name prominently written on it. Found it. Before Qin Jiao could speak, she saw Qing Jibai raise a test paper. I found Wang Yu's name. Upon hearing this, everyone immediately gathered around, and Xuanmen looked at him with a look of admiration on his face. Qin Jiao lifted the exercise book in her hand and said, I found it too, Li Manman's. Are there 2 students who committed suicide in this classroom? Everyone looked at each other in confusion, thinking that there was only one student who had committed suicide in each messy classroom. Qin Jiao looked at the evil spirit beside her. The evil spirit floated out arrogantly without saying a word. Qin Jiao's mouth twitched and said to Qing Jibai and the others, leave 2 people here to continue searching and see if there is anyone surnamed Sunday. The others will follow me. Qiao Xian let out a tired breath and said, I'll stay. Xuanmen didn't want to stay with Qiao Xian. Who knows if he would go crazy again, but just now Qin Jiao stirred up trouble. She and Qiao Xian were both in the same group, so she could only raise her hand and say, I'll stay with Xian Gu. Everyone had no objections, so Qin Jiao led Qing Jibai and the people of the second group to follow the evil spirit to the second floor. Guided by evil spirits, Qin Jiao quickly found Zhao Shuer's name on the second floor, and Li Xiaoye also found a boy's name surnamed Sunday. Qin Jiao looked at the evil spirit, but he didn't say a word and just floated out. They went to the third floor, and Qin Jiao saw that the evil spirit was already standing next to a desk. She walked over with ease, flipped through the other desks first, and then took out the books from that desk. The owner of this desk, also known as Sun Xiaoqin, is obviously a girl's name. So the boy's surnamed Sun on the second floor has nothing to do with this case. Sun Xiaoqin is the name that was scratched under the table. The evil spirit walked through the desk and sat down at Sun Xiaoqin's desk. Qin Jiao didn't know why, so she gave him a glance and gestured for him to take her to find other clues. The evil spirit glanced at her but didn't move. Qin Jiao threw the textbook in her hand onto the table, full of threat. The evil spirit then stood up and floated out, taking her to the teacher's office on the third floor. There is a locked desk in this office, and Qing Jibai took the initiative to pick it up and said, I'm here to find the key. Don't waste time. Qin Jiao picked up the chair and smashed it into the keyhole, then used brute force to pull open the drawer. The metal buckle fell to the ground, making a crisp sound. Qing Jibai and others stared at Qin Jiao in amazement, and the 3 of them swallowed their saliva in agreement. What they don't know is that the evil spirits floating on the side have the same reaction as them. Qin Jiao carefully flipped through it and found a diary. The last page of the diary was written like this. Devil. He's just a demon. Why? Why did he do this? As his homeroom teacher, I taught him how to do it, so let me put an end to this. Qin Jiao furrowed her brows, and the existing clues were telling her that the silent truth was not so simple. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Mysteries Abound. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Mysteries Abound. Qin Jiao looked up at the evil spirit with a proud and coquettish expression in front of her. He was the young teacher who had mysteriously disappeared. He realized that his student had done something wrong and wanted to stop it, but was brutally killed. So, is this student who did bad things alone or multiple people? The diary is written about him, not her, nor them. She had previously speculated that the culprit was among the guests, one of the roles they played. So what about the 3 students who committed suicide? Assuming it was the bad student who killed the teacher, what is the relationship between this incident and the 3 students who committed suicide? It is still unclear whether the 3 students committed suicide, whether they were killed by evil spirits or died for other reasons. Qin Jiao is right, the most crucial clue is a female classmate surnamed Sunday. What role does Sun Shaoqin play in this case? Can she be that bad student? Qin Jiao was lost in thought. The evil spirit deliberately guided her to find these clues, but refused to tell her the truth directly. Is this testing her ability or not? Is there a bigger secret behind this case? Are they all his students? At this moment, Qin Jiao's voice caught her attention. Qin Jiao was holding a stack of test papers in his hand, and he divided them into 3 parts and placed them on his desk. He is a math teacher. These are the papers for Class 3, Class 7, and Class 10. We have all been to these 3 classes. Do you have Li Man and his test paper? There should be, I'll look for it. Qin Jiao quickly found out their test papers, and Sun Shaoqin did not miss either. Li Man and Wang Yu have good grades, while Zhao Shuer is average. Sun Shaoqin probably didn't do well because there was a message written by the teacher at the end of the exam paper. Shaoqin, I've noticed that your grades have been declining significantly lately. If you have any difficulties or don't understand anything, be sure to tell the teacher. After reading it, Qin Jiao overturned the speculation that Sun Shaoqin might be a bad student. The reason for the sudden decline in grades should be that Sun Shaoqin encountered something bad and was under too much psychological pressure. Zheng Quan scratched his head and said, "Did the missing teacher be killed by this group of students together?" "No, why did he commit suicide?" "Because of guilt." "Why don't we meet up with a group of people first?" Li Xiaoye always felt that this place was gloomy, and she wanted to leave quickly. A group of people were waiting in the classroom when Xuanmen saw them and welcomed them. Qiao Xian remained motionless and asked wearily about the situation upstairs. Qin Jiao informed them one by one of the clues they discovered. Xuanmen was puzzled and said, although the teacher left a message for Sun Shaoqin, isn't there also a male classmate surnamed Sun on the 2nd floor? Is it possible that Sun under the podium is referring to him? Qin Jiao bluntly said, "It's impossible." Why? She couldn't tell them directly because there was an evil spirit pointing her way. Just as she was about to find an excuse, Qin Jiao spoke up. Because the production team won't add scenes to passers-by, The other guests nodded in agreement. Xuanmen thought for a moment before asking, is it possible that when the bad student killed the teacher, the 3 students who committed suicide were also present, which led to their subsequent suicide? Zheng Quan smiled and said, "And Ran and I thought of going together." Qin Jiao did not agree or refute. She reviewed in her mind and summarized more clues. In general, the homeroom teacher is more strict with the students in their own class, so I speculate that the teacher is the homeroom teacher of Class 10. The teacher wrote in his diary that being his homeroom teacher indicates that bad students are also in Class 10. Xuanmen asked innocently, "Sister, do you mean that Sun Shaoqin is the murderer?" Qin Jiao looked at Qin Jiao and nodded, saying, "It's not impossible. Sun Shaoqin is the only person alive among known identities." Qin Jiao did not respond, but looked at Qiao Xian and said, "Teacher Qiao, what is your identity?" Qiao Xian sat on the chair all the time and weakly replied, "I am Principal Xian." As the principal of the school, it is understandable that he came to investigate a series of murders, but Qiao Xian was previously possessed and shouted a sentence. Qin Jiao looked at the evil spirit, which was obviously deliberately arranged by him. Otherwise, why did she have to attach herself to Qiao Xian? That is to say, Qiao Xian was actually shouting, "Damn little beast," as the principal. The principal must know something. Qin Jiao was once again lost in thought. The principal scolded that if it were a teacher, she wouldn't add a small character. If it were a student suddenly, as if she had thought of something, she turned her head and ran out. Others followed and called her from behind, but Qin Jiao ignored her and headed straight to the third floor. She stopped at Sun Xiaoqin's seat, but her gaze fell on her desk mate's seat. Just now, the evil spirit was sitting here, not quite willing to let him go. Qin Jiao stepped in and took out everything from her desk mate. There was a delicate small box containing 3 strands of hair, which belonged to a girl based on their length, but the colors varied, indicating that they were not from the same person. Qin Jiao pondered for a moment before suddenly looking at Zheng Quan. Zheng Quan was startled and said, "What? What's going on?" "Teacher Zheng, your identity is Quan parent, and you are the mother of one of the students who committed suicide, right?" Zheng Quan nodded and said, "That's right." That is to say, Qin Jiao glanced at Qin Jiao and then turned to Xuanmen. Male guests can play female roles, and female guests can also play male roles. The 3 students who came to investigate the case are not necessarily male students, nor are they necessarily female students. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. The Killer is You. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. The Killer is You. Everyone listened to Qin Jiao's words in a daze, not understanding what she was trying to express. After a moment, they all took a cold breath. Who is the most likely cause of Sun Xiaoqin's declining grades? In this case, there is no doubt that it is related to classmates and they are familiar with each other. In addition to 3 strands of girls' hair, there are also valuable items such as game consoles, mobile phones, and tablets in the desk mate's desk, which is enough to prove that the desk mate is related to the case. Moreover, the desk mate is a wealthy and powerful second generation, as schools generally do not allow electronic devices to be carried. The case has a new figure, Lu Zheng, Sun Xiaoqin's desk mate. You mentioned before that the killer is among us. Based on your current judgment, the scope of the killer has narrowed down to the 3 of us. Qin Jiao nodded and said, the teacher's death is closely related to the bad students in the diary. The 3 of us are all students, and we are both male and female. Only we know that the murderer can lie. Qin Jiao looked at the box placed on the table and said, if the 3 strands of hair correspond to 3 female students with names and surnames, then what is Wang Yu's identity? Why did he commit suicide? This is indeed an unsolved mystery. Before they could think it over, Xuanmen suddenly spoke up, interrupting everyone's thoughts. Sister, I can't figure it out. The person who caused Sun Xiaoqin's grades to decline may not be her desk mate, but also other classmates. Why did sister find Lu Zheng so accurately? After Xuanmen finished speaking, everyone looked at Qin Jiao with skeptical eyes. If Qin Jiao is the actor playing Lu Zheng, then it can be explained. Li Xiaoya understood and said, Enron, are you doubting Qin Jiao? Xuanmen pretended to be surprised and said, how could that be? I just casually asked, if sister is the murderer, why would she expose herself? Is it to make everyone suspect her? Do they suspect Qin Jiao? Obviously none of them. They suddenly realized that it was precisely because Qin Jiao had found the bad student that they instinctively believed her. Qin Jiao raised her eyebrows slightly, and Xuanmen still had some brain. The reverse guidance effect of this wave was good. However, Qin Jiao's next words left them unable to nitpick. It's simple. The teacher noticed something was wrong with Sun Xiaoqin, so she secretly observed her. As a teacher, observing students during class is the most convenient. So who can easily influence her at this time? Desk mate. Qin Jiao's voice was clear and resounding. Qin Jiao continued, in the teacher's diary, there are both anger and disbelief. I guess Sun Xiaoqin did not seek his help, but rather made the decision he believed was right after discovering the problem himself. Zheng Quan hissed and said, Qin Jiao, your mind is really spinning fast. Qin Jiao was very clear that without the guidance of evil spirits, she could not have found the clue in such a short time, but the clues were not enough. Each of us has a purpose, Principal Xian. It seems like you haven't said why you came here to investigate yet. Xiao Xian was still very weak, and after a while, he said, with so many things happening at school, as the principal, I should lead by example. After listening to Xiao Xian's explanation, Qin Jiao furrowed her brows imperceptibly. She remained silent for a long time before suddenly tugging at the corner of her mouth with bitterness. So it's like this. How about it? Did Qin Jiao know the truth? Qin Jiao ignored their doubts and looked ahead with a clear sigh. He is a good teacher, and when he found out that his students had been enduring abuse for a long time that did not belong to her age, he felt heartbroken. He was angry. He wanted to punish bad students and protect innocent students. But things didn't go so smoothly because the bad student was the principal's son, supported by the principal's father. The bad student was even more reckless, and the teacher also found more victims. He couldn't bear it anymore and wanted to solve the problem in his own way. He approached the bad student, maybe to kill him, or maybe just to make him surrender. The ultimate result was that the bad student killed the teacher, and both the bad student and his principal's father were well aware that once the incident broke out, those students involved in it would know who the teacher died at. To be on the safe side, the father and son decided to take care of all those informed individuals. But how can we solve this? We can't just kill them directly, so we can find a way to make them commit suicide or create a fake suicide scene. Cheng Jibai exclaimed in shock, are you saying that Sun Xiaoqin's desk mate is the principal's son? Xuanmen expressed confusion and said, Sister, how can you prove it? Qin Jiao's tone was calm. Each of us came to the school with a personal purpose, but only Principal Xian said it very officially, which means he concealed a part. Everyone looked at Xiao Xian one after another, and Principal Xian was sitting weakly in a chair, without even making any excuses. Parents' rights are the mother of a deceased person, and Teacher Yu is the girlfriend of the male teacher. Everyone has some degree of kinship, so what about Principal Xian? The murderer Lu Zheng has wealth and power, and among us, only Principal Xian meets this family condition. Li Xiaoye was greatly impressed and said, who exactly is the murderer among you? Qin Jiao raised her hand and pointed to Xuanmen, saying, the culprit. It's Ran classmate. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Is not the end, but the beginning. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 is not the end, but the beginning. Xuanmen was stunned on the spot and gave a dry laugh. Sister, do you doubt me? Qin Jiao shook her head and said, I'm not suspecting you, I'm sure the culprit is you. This is not suspicion, it's clear that she was directly convicted. Xuanmen wished she could grit her silver teeth, but the live broadcast was not over yet, and she couldn't do anything that would damage her image. Sister. Xuanmen's voice choked up, I don't know why you keep targeting me, can't we get along well? Qin Jiao retorted, everyone is working, why do you always bring up personal matters? Are you targeting me or am I targeting you? Li Xiaoye smiled and tried to smooth things out, don't do this, don't do this. It's not normal for me to investigate and suspect. My teammates even suspected me before. As a teammate, Zheng Quan nodded very cooperatively and said, yes, everything is normal. Cheng Jibai looked at Qin Jiao and said, why do you think she's a bad student? The first point is that when Principal Xian triggers the hidden plot, only the Ran student is present. At first, I thought it was just a coincidence, but later on, I realized that if the Ran student is Principal Xian's son, would it be more reasonable for Principal Xian to scold him as a little beast? The second point is that no one else has ever doubted me, but my classmate has repeatedly guided everyone to list me as a suspect. He is trying to use me to get rid of the charge. Thirdly, do you still remember when we confessed our identity information to each other before? However, classmates, like Principal Xian, concealed some clues. My identity information indicates that the teacher is my homeroom teacher, but I didn't write about many classes, so I spoke out without any defense. However, my classmate didn't say it, and she didn't want everyone to know that she was also from class 10. Qin Jiao was well organized, and what Xuanmen said was speechless. Qin Jiao suddenly added, my identity information clearly states that the missing teacher is my homeroom teacher, which means that Jiao and I are not in the same class. Xuanmen was at a loss for words, but still did not admit it. Li Xiaoye was a bit anxious and said, Enron, if you're really the culprit, why don't you admit it? At most, there's no reward. She was extremely uneasy in her heart. The school's cult was very bad. Although it was warm outside the school, it was chilly inside. Especially now, is the temperature in this classroom really normal? Li Xiaoye thought of the dark shadow and became even more eager to leave here. Among them, it seems that only Zheng Quan from Group 2 has never seen the shadow, perhaps because he played the mother of one of the students. Xuanmen knew that riding a tiger was difficult, and at this point, she would be scolded whether she admitted or not. So, Xuanmen pretended to have a sudden realization and clapped her hands vigorously. She exclaimed in surprise, Sister, are you too smart? I'm sorry, I apologize to you. I didn't know what to do when I was the murderer for the first time. I did many annoying things without realizing it, and even revealed so many flaws. I was all seen through by my sister. She wouldn't laugh at me, would she? Qin Jiao couldn't learn her hypocrisy, so she replied sincerely, yes. Xuanmen's sweet and charming smile froze at the corner of her mouth, and she could only awkwardly say, Sister, you really know how to joke. Qin Jiao ignored her anymore. She looked at the evil spirit in front of her and asked with her eyes, did she pass the level? The evil spirit looked at her with complex eyes and remained silent for a while before finally speaking, you guessed half right. Qin Jiao was stunned, only halfway there. She thought at least half of it. The evil spirit stared at Qin Jiao and said, are you really just trying to help me? There are no conditions. Qin Jiao nodded silently at the evil spirit. The evil spirit pondered for a moment and nodded slowly, I hope you won't regret it. Regret. She never regrets doing things. Qin Jiao knew the evil spirit's original plan. He wanted all 6 guests to die here, only in this way could it cause a huge uproar. Public opinion is the best weapon. But now he is willing to believe her, so naturally he will not harm anyone again. At this moment, Qin Jiao looked at the faces of Qin Jiao and others again, and the signs of imminent death, which had been filled with blood, had dissipated. However, Xiao Xian's face was somewhat pale. He is possessed by evil spirits and cannot avoid falling ill. Qin Jiao, Qin Jiao, and others left the teaching building. What they didn't know was that the number of viewers in the live broadcast room had already reached 80 million, and the number was still increasing. Qin Jiao is also amazing. How can I criticize her? Don't you think Qin Jiao and Qin Jiao are a good couple to play with? I bet they know each other for 50 cents. Sleeping trough. The silent truth is actually a real case. It happened 10 years ago. Oh my goodness. I checked and found out that the perpetrator is still at large at the school where they live stream. The live broadcast is not over yet, and hot searches related to clues have already dominated the list. Hashtag the first case is a real case, and the police have filed a case hashtag shocking. Contemporary Sherlock Holmes Qin Jiao solves the case online hashtag Qin Jiao didn't know what was happening online. She followed Qin Jiao out of the teaching building and looked back at the campus still shrouded in black mist. She knew that the first live broadcast with clues was about to end, but the silent truth had just begun. End of this chapter.